Thanks for joining me this evening for Fangirl Thursday. I'm super excited to be here with you. I am so excited to have my guest for you guys tonight. She writes under the pen name of SF Benson, and she has been on my radar for years. I actually own three of her titles and have them on my bookshelf, but for whatever reason, it has taken me forever to read one of her books. So, to rectify this, while I was homesick at the first of the month, I plunged into her Blood Vendetta novel. And oh my gosh, what have I been waiting for? This novel left my head spinning. The arc is filled with so many twists and turns. It will most definitely leave you reeling. There's secrets, there's lies, there's political espionage, and it creates a thrilling page turner. It focuses on Morgan, who is the fierce main character who battles ghosts from her past while trying to solidify her future. The BGS, which is the company that she works for, is made up of quite the cast of supernaturals, and they are all working towards the same goal. Or are they? So, to find out more about this thrilling series from Miss Benson, we're going to have her join us. Hi,
Hi.
Shantella. Thank you for joining us. I'm so
Thanks for
excited
having
to
me.
have
I am
you
like
here.
so
Um,
excited with how you described reading me.
Thank
I was like,
you.
oh gosh.
All these years I've known you and met you at various events, and I've picked up books from you and whatnot, but you've never told me what a fantastic storyteller you are. Oh my gosh. I picked up Blood Vendetta from you when I saw you in September at PenCon.
Right.
And honestly, the first thing that drew me to this book was the cover. Um, it's a great cover, sexy looking characters. They make me very happy. Um, where did this storyline, this plot come from?
Well, it started actually as a short story called Ever After. If anyone remembers hearing about Utopia, it's no longer around, but
Mhm.
that was a writer and reader convention. And I went as a reader for the first time, met a great group of people, decided that yes, I was going to self publish. And there was this anthology for all new debut authors who were going to have a book the following year. And so this was the anthology, Secret Identity, that I wrote my story for. And back then it was called Ever After. It had a totally different twist to it. Um, and then I kind of put it on the back burner. I thought it was a good story, but it was like, man, I need to write more with it. And so last year was when I finally said, this is the year that we're going to do this. And I decided to create an entire world around it. The BGS that you mentioned, it's the Black Guard Society. And their sole purpose in life is to protect those who are in need of protection. And that can be supernaturals, it can be humans, just anybody that they feel just needs them to help out. And it's the rogue supernaturals. And those are the supernaturals who feel that, hey, I don't have to belong to a cult, I don't have to be with other vampires, I don't have to be part of a pack. I just want to do my own thing. And if my own thing is harming humans, then I'm for it. But the BGS comes out and says, you can't do that. So that's their whole job, is to go after these guys. And so that was the premise, the whole idea behind the book, to have this agency that is almost like the FBI for supernaturals.
Mhm.
And so you don't want to get in trouble with the BGS because they are going to come after you, and they're going to come after you hard. The biggest problem is Morgan. This is supposed to be her agency. Her great grandmother, Morgana Le Fay, was supposed to hand it off to her, but she said that Morgan was too young to handle it. And so
Mhm.
she said, in the meantime, we'll have other people lead this and you can learn the inner workings and find out what to do. But Morgan is extremely reckless. And that is what prompts this whole book, as you found out. And
Mhm.
it prompts the series. So it's actually a 10 book series. And every book builds off of the last one. and you find out just how reckless Morgan is. By the end, she'll change, but it's going to take a long time for her to change.
She's got a lot of issues if it's going to take 10 books for her to get it
Oh,
together.
yes. Well, Morgan is a Dampier. So a Dampier is part vampire, part human, but she's
Mhm,
also a witch. And her witchery is fueled by her anger and all her other emotions. So every time she gets pissed off, every time she's too passionate, her magic doesn't work quite the way it should. She
mhm.
tells
We
you,
got a little
like,
taste of that in book 1.
yeah, she said, remember Katrina? That
Mhm.
wasn't necessarily an act of God. So
Hell
she
hath no fury.
Yep. So she tends to get a little on the wild side, but I truly, truly love her character. And I love her partner, Ace. He is like, he speaks with his fist. If
Mhm,
anyone has read any of the Another Falls Creek romances, he was mentioned for the first time in Something More. So Ace is a pack leader. He has his own pack of wolves, and he has an upstanding role to have with them, but he's also in love with Morgan. And so
mhm.
he's got his role with her as well. So he's like that happy medium that tries to squash some of her temper, but it doesn't always work.
He's kind of the yin to her yang. He
Exactly.
tries to, and normally succeeds in kind of reining her in and calming her down and telling her to basically check yourself.
Mm-hmm. But
What can you tell us about the first book, Blood Vendetta, without really giving any spoilers, which I know is kind of hard. Having read it, it's really hard to talk about it without going into a lot of detail because there are so many plot twists and so many moments in the book. And I mean, I could not put it down when I got started. You and I were talking beforehand that Melanie Gilbert and I were going to team up and read this together so we could read it, we could talk about it, we could have you on and do an interview. And I ended up being home sick and I didn't have anything to do but read. So I sat down and just read. I could not put it down. It was just that good. So I'm very fortunate that I was able to dive right in and have something to do while I was homesick. Melanie has commented on here as well that she is reading it and she can't wait to finish it and she's enjoying it as well. But I digress. I'm sorry.
that's
Briefly
all right.
tell us a little bit about the first book, Blood Vendetta.
Well, the first book, you get a chance to finally meet Morgan and find out exactly what they do for a living. The book starts out with action. And
Yes, it
um,
does.
not to give anything away, the first guy that they're after is someone from Morgan's past. And so she's got to face her issues from her past, along with reining in this one character. It's like, do we kill him? Do we not? What should we do with him? But all of her issues from the past come out. And by the end of this book, Morgan creates the worst mistake ever because she has a tendency to act without thinking. And after she does something, then
Yes.
she goes, oh crap, what did I just
Maybe I
do?
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Even when
So,
she knows what the consequences are gonna be, nothing, which maybe, I mean, it's a flaw of hers, but at the same time, you gotta love her, you know? You piss that woman off and woo, buddy,
yeah, she
you're
will
going
do
down.
whatever for her family. And those
Yeah.
are traits that she takes from both sides of her family. Her mom is a sorceress, and her father is one of the original vampires. Um, he knew Dracula personally. So
Mhm.
that's another part of the book that I love to bring in a little history. You're going to get more history in part two in the next book, Cold Blooded. You find out about the Marquis de Sade.
Ooh.
That he actually knew the family. And as you continue on with the books, you find out that the family has these deep, dark secrets that they didn't want anybody to know. But now I'm digressing. But in book one,
I find that everybody in this series is very complicated and has all these secrets and things that they don't want coming out. And they're all very, very complicated people. I can't imagine having a book on this scale and with this many players, this many characters, and keeping all of that straight in my head or notebook or whatever, because there's a lot going on.
It's called Lots and Lots of Binders. If I could even just show you, I don't even think you could see there, kind of right there. You see that box with all those
I
those
do.
binders make up all my stories.
Wow.
And I'm now using like 2 to 3 inch thick binders
Hmm.
for these. And so the Blackguard actually has a map so that I can keep straight who's appeared where and
Hmm.
why. Because some of these characters, if you've read the Another False Creek romances, if you've read the Heart's duology, some of these characters are in those books as well. It's
The
like,
Hearts duology is on my bookshelf, so it's next in line.
so Edwina Devereaux has been in Cursed Hearts. She's been
Okay.
in Blessed Hearts.
Okay.
Cash Martin makes an appearance. He was Blessed Hearts. So think of it like, you know how if you watch any of the CW DC comic shows, or if you watch any of the NCIS shows,
Yes.
uh,
All the
they like to do
crossovers
crossover
and
events.
yes.
I like to think of my books as crossovers because you can read a book and go, oh, wait a minute, I read about this person. And if you want to read more about them, it's like, okay, go back and read this particular story. And now you can find out about that person. So that's how I like to keep them going. And it's like with each book, you find out a little bit more about each one. And so Edwina Devereaux, she's a little bit in this one. She's also in book 2,
Hmm.
Cold Blooded. You find out the vampire who turned her is also in this one. So it gets it gets spicy at times.
Hmm.
They're awfully fun to write though. It's like all of my inspiration, it's like I watch the programs on TV and always go, what if? It's like, what would have happened if this happened instead? To, we know about the original vampires, we know about Dracula. It's like, yeah, but what if he did this? We know the Marquis de Sade was naughty, but just how naughty was he?
Okay, well, you told us there's going to be 10 books. That's
Yes.
very daunting, but exciting at the same time. How many do you expect to come out this year in that series? Just the Cold Blooded, or are you
Just
working?
cold blooded this year. Because of all the other books that I have. Thanks to this wonderful virus going around, people, I have pushed things back and
Yeah.
rearranged things. And so I may have 2 books come out next year. Uh, I can tell you right now that each book deals with a different type of supernatural. And so we're going to have witches. We're going to have good jinn and bad jinn. We have demons, Nephilim and angels, and even ghosts. And for those who have read Another Falls Creek Romance, if you read Broken Faith, that was with Thesion. He was a dark angel. And in that book, I mention a character named Richard Everly, who's a revenant. Richard Everly is getting populated in each one of these books, where it's like they're constantly trying to chase down this revenant. He is hard to catch. Will they catch him by the
So
end?
basically, you fixed it so that your fans and your readers have no choice but to read every single book you have written because they all tie together. I don't
Exactly.
know if it's genius or maddening at this point, but holy crap,
It's a little both.
that
But
is
it's so much fun,
amazing.
Lynn, because I never have to let go of the characters. If it's somebody I really like, it's like, oh, just keep writing them, keep writing them. If I don't really like that, it's like, okay, go ahead and kill him. It's time for him to die.
I guess we know who you didn't like in Blood Vendetta then. Excuse me.
Yes, but Tabby does make another appearance.
I saw that. I
Not in
was
this
reading
series, though.
something where you were talking about the next book coming up, and I was like, oh, she's not finished.
Tabby doesn't come back necessarily in this series. Tabby comes back in the Spellcaster Diaries.
Ah, okay.
Dude, I won't tell you how she comes back.
Again, I gotta read it all. Apparently, I'm gonna have to just devote the remainder of the year to all of your books because that's what you've done to me now. You've sucked me in.
I'm an
So
evil genius.
I know everything's kind of crazy right now with the virus and plans changing and all that. But as of right now, what events are you planning to be at this year? Where can people see you at?
Okay. Once Upon a Book in Frankenmuth, of course. That's in
Mhm.
July. And I say, of course, because that's a Michigan event and I'm from Michigan, so I have to be there. It's just, I haven't missed one yet. So hopefully we'll have one this year that I won't have to miss it. And then in October, it's Books and Booze. I think I got that right. And
Mhm.
Elizabethtown, Kentucky. It's the first
Yes.
year for that event, and it's right before Halloween, and I'm like really looking forward to it.
I'm looking into that one since Roanoke got canceled. I'm looking into the Books and Booze to see if I may possibly go to that one because again, it's within driving distance. So
Right. Right. Well, I'm hoping to be able to ride with someone up for that one to save a little money. So that will be the name of the game for the rest of this year. Is like how can we save money and still
oh,
be in
absolutely.
business?
We may have to talk then. We may have to, yeah. We may have to talk. We may have to road trip.
There you go. I'm always good for that.
Mhm. Um, okay, we're gonna open this up to you guys now and let you pop in and ask any questions. We're having a little bit of trouble with the program. It's not bringing up your comments and questions for us on the program screen, but I pulled you guys up on Facebook on the app on my phone, so I'm able to take a look at the messages coming through so that we don't miss anything from you guys. It too is moving a little slow. Um,
Everything's slow.
I so quickly while I am scanning through that, if you guys want to pop on and ask us any questions, by all means, go right ahead.
I am
And
good with
here
answering questions.
is a cover of the, whoops, I got them all up there. Here is the cover of the book for you guys. It's Blood Vendetta, and it is book one in the Blackguard Society. And trust me, if you're looking for a fast-paced thrill ride that's got tons of twists and turns and is going to keep you guessing and all the way to the very end, you definitely want to check this book out. So go ahead and post your questions and we will get those answered for you guys. Looks like we have Melanie Gilbert with us tonight. Hi, Melanie. She says yes, she's still reading. Let's see, we have Mary Edgar's with us and Mary Gray. Hi, Mary.
Hey, ladies.
Everybody's impressed by the fact that your series is going to be 10 books long. Yeah, Mary says that everything's running slow because everybody's at home stuck and using all the stuff, slowing down the internet.
Get all the Wi-Fi.
So if you guys have any questions about this book or any of the others that she writes, we can certainly get those answered for you guys.
Well, I can tell you guys about the other books.
Okay,
Lynn said that she has two, The Heart's Duology.
I do.
That is actually, hold up for a second and I can show you those.
Awesome.
Okay, this is Cursed Hearts. It is the first paranormal romance book that I've ever written. It is YA, and I consider it my supernatural take on Romeo and Juliet. You
Oh,
have a teenage succubus and a vampire fall in love. From there, I went new adult and very steamy. Blessed Hearts. It is her brother, the incubus, who claims he would never, ever, ever, ever fall in love. And you know what happens when you say never, ever.
of course.
He falls in love with a Janiyah, which is a female Jesus. Now, these characters pop up again. In
Of course they do, because that's how you roll.
Cursed Hearts, I wrote a small little novelette for the holidays called Hollow Holiday. and it continues the story of Kelsey Martin and the vampire Victor. But you also find out about Kragan is mentioned in this. Um, Luke is the vampire who changed Victor, so he's in there. In Blessed Hearts, you get Cash Martin, and Cash shows up in the Blackguard Society because he has a special job. Ashmodee, the king of hell, gave him a special job. Cash is married to a Janiyah now. And so she will show up in two books in the Blackguard Society, Blood Allies and Bloodlines. So one is about Jinn and the other is about the evil Jinn, because there's more than one type of Jinn. She happens to be a hybrid of both. So her mom was a
Of
good
course
Jinn
she is. She's
who
gonna be
married the
complicated.
bad boy Jinn. So you get both of those. Then we go into more new adult romance, which I didn't plan on it. See, Lynn thinks I had this evil plan. I didn't. They just kind of happened. I stumbled into
It was
writing
a happy
romance.
accident. Sure. Sell that to the people.
I did. I really did. I stumbled into the whole thing. And, oh my God, I actually have
I
one.
find it to be genius. I don't know why everybody's not doing that.
Okay, so really quick, for anybody who, this is worth the fight. This is Edwina's story. Edwina is a hybrid. She is part witch, part vampire, and she hooks up with a werepanther. In that one, they go to New Orleans. It's the first time we hear about New Orleans, and this is Morgan is in this book as well. Morgan and her mom and her father show up in this one. Also, Ace is in it, so you get a lot. You get the introduction
Oh,
in that one. This one is one of my favorites. Finding Me. It is my only so far male romance. And as I tell people, it's not about what goes where, but it's all about the emotions in this one. And so with this one, you get Colton Ajax, which show he was in Cursed Hearts and Blessed Hearts. He finds his true love in this book, and his true love happens to be a fallen angel. But it's a kind of like a supernatural twist on Pinocchio because Colton is tired of being an incubus, and so he gets a special wish granted. His grandfather is the king of hell, so he can do those things. He gives him a 30-day wish to no longer be an incubus. He gets to be human for 30 days, but he had certain conditions placed on it, that he had to find a real job, he had to find a place to live, and he had to find that true love, somebody who really made his heart beat stronger.
and you had to
So
do all that in 30 days?
uh-huh.
Wow.
He set him up a condition that he felt that he wouldn't be able to meet it, but he did. And it's like he met the guy on the first night. So like I said, it's one of my favorites. Um, I've been told that Finding Me is just it's. Oh, hello there. He
You
wanted to
never know what's
find
gonna pop on when I'm doing these, you know.
Did he have a question?
Sorry about that.
Continue on. This is
Really
letting
quick to
go.
interrupt you for just one second because we did have a couple of questions
Oh,
pop
good.
up.
Okay.
Um, Mary was asking if you use, I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, Scrivener?
Scrivener. Yes,
Scrivener. Okay.
yes, I do. I didn't when I first started writing. So these first books that I told you about, I did not use it. I started using Scrivener probably really about a year ago. I was having problems with Microsoft Word where I would open it up and it would crash and it would keep crashing and it was starting to lose things. And so it was like, okay, I need something that I can back up to like crazy. And so I switched over to Scrivener and I'm very happy with it. I back it up with Dropbox and I couldn't be happier with it. And it lets me write on my phone too. I actually have a version of the app on my phone.
Cool. Melanie Gilbert wants to know how you keep all of your characters straight and whether or not you use a spreadsheet or how you keep up with all of them.
I have a binder. I have binders. Where is the latest one? Let's see. Hold on. turn on the light here for you. Okay, I can show you this one.
This is
This
like
is not for the
author
blackguard.
plotting and writing 101 or something here. We've really just expanded the whole show. Thank you.
But this is Dark Intent, which is book 2 in the Spellcaster Diaries. And so I keep all my research on one side, and then I've got like just this is right now, this is the printed draft. But what usually goes in this before the draft goes in will be all the notes. If it's part of a series, then any pages that pertain to that character, I will pull out of the draft copy and stick in there. So I always keep the draft copy of anything I've written. And that's what I've done with Dark Bonds, which is the 3rd book in the series. I have all these things about Edwina from Worth the Fight. So what I had to do is go back to those notes, pull everything I had from Worth the Fight that was for Edwina, highlight everything about her, and then I stuck that in there. So I can always go back and refer to it.
That is an awesome idea and great planning on your part.
Any other questions?
We had Kelly Martin join us.
Oh, hey, Kelly.
Hi. Melanie's excited that she's going to get to see you at Once Upon a Book, and she's also going to be at the Books and Booze.
Woo.
And then Melanie also asked, what was the book that you read from at the Once Upon a Book group?
Oh, you're talking about oh crap, which one was it? It might have been Inception. No, it wasn't. It was actually, it's a new book. It's a new series that has not been released. Hang on, I'm referring to my wall. It is from All Things Dark and Dreadful. It's a brand new book. It is Seeking Death. This book is about this series is going to be 3 books, but it's a series about a girl, Victorian time, and she is obsessed with Sherlock Holmes. In this book, Sherlock is real. And she wants to be a detective just like Sherlock Holmes, but she's also a necromancer. And her father, because it's Victorian times, he feels that she should just marry and live her life that way. And he's already met the perfect man for her.
Of course,
and figures that, we've got a match here, but that's not what she wants. She wants to marry the guy she grew up with. She's in love with him. And basically it's like it's a twist on Alice in Wonderland. Instead of falling down the rabbit hole, she has this blue smoke blown into her face. And when she wakes up, she's in a different world. She's in an alternate world. So it takes place in London, and the alternate world is Londinium. And so what I read for the group was Death, Dr. Death, when she actually met them for the first time.
Oh, was this your live
Yes.
chat that you did? Oh, okay. I didn't realize that's what she was talking about.
Yeah, I had to think about that for a minute.
Oh my gosh, you are a fantastic narrator. You could totally do audiobooks because you did the voices and everything. Because, yeah, we were talking about that in the comments. I didn't realize that was the same thing she was talking about. I thought it was something different. Yes, that sounded amazing.
I've always done voices, though. It's like I did that for my daughter. That's how I used to read books to her. And instead of reading every single book because she always had a hard time going to sleep, I started making up my own stories with characters. And that's what I would tell her at night.
You rock. You're so cool.
Thanks.
Okay, I interrupted you, so if you want to pop back up with the books and finish what you were doing.
Okay, we only have a few more. I'll go through this really quick because I was just told it was 8 o'clock. Okay, so Letting Go. This is more of a sweet romance within the series. And Marcus Aurelius, you met him in the other books that came before this. He is a wraith who he didn't do anything good as a human, and he's definitely not done anything good as a wraith. But for some reason, one night he hears his voice crying out that they need help, and he saves somebody. He saves a human. And so It's a second chance romance. He gets another chance at being human, and the human gets a chance to live. She didn't appreciate it, but she had to learn to appreciate it. Something more. This one is actually on sale right now. Kindle, it's 99 cents on Amazon only. They are all available through Kindle.
Making a note.
It is on sale until the 21st, but I just love this one, especially the cover. This is Wolf Shifters. We've got two alphas, one man, one woman. They're
Oh,
both alphas. They have been in love since ninth grade. He's Latino. He desperately wants to marry her. And she's like, I can't. I got to take care of my pack. I can't be the wife of an alpha and an alpha. So
mm-hmm.
you get to find out how they fix that in there. Broken Faith. This is the one I mentioned. The one with Thesion, the
Oh, I
hot
like that
dark
cover.
angel. And he meets his saving Grace, Grace Martinez.
Nice.
So that's the story of redemption. And it's a bit of a heartbreaker because he thought that the king of hell, Ashmodee, who is in like all of these books, in every single book he shows up in, he thought that was his father. And he said, I created you, but you're not my father. I'm not your son. It's like, forget it. It's like, that doesn't work. And then the last one, at least the last one I think for this series, will probably be Unexpected Love. This is actually two books in one. It was supposed to be two books, but then I really thought that you need to keep reading. You didn't need to
Mm-hmm.
wait for the next one. So the first half of the book goes back in time to the 80s, and you find out about Colt Najax's parents, which are these are their stories as well. They're in
Mm-hmm.
these other books. So you've read about Khan Najax, you've read about Sybil, you find out how they met, and it's kind of a reverse harem type thing. And
Oh.
it goes back to if you've read Cursed Hearts, read Blessed Hearts, you know about Sybil going to hell. This picks up when she went to hell. So you find out what happened there. And then the second half of the book, you find out what happens to Khan. Because there's a little bit of a rift in the first part of the book.
When we finish tonight, I'm going to have to go to my bookshelf, see what I actually own, and then just send you a message and say, this is what I have, and just go ahead and bill me for everything else. And I'll see you at Once Upon a Book. Because I think I went ahead and pre-ordered Cold Blooded for Once Upon a Book. But I don't think I pre-ordered anything else. Because, of course, I didn't realize at the time that everything tied together. So I've gone
It's
from
fun.
one book to probably needing like 15 or 20, however many you got. I'm going to need it all.
Inception, you've been reading about in each one of these books, maybe every one except for the maybe first two. I've mentioned Elspeth, the Red
Mhm.
Witch. This is it. This is her story.
That's
It
a
is.
really cool cover.
I love this cover. It's full of history, so you find out how Elspeth came to be.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said that the Red Witch is the one who is responsible for bringing evil to the New World. So she brought witches, she introduced demons and vampires and everything. It's all on her. And so you
Are
find out
are
how she.
any of your books in audio?
No, I haven't. I haven't been that fortunate yet, Lynn. That requires money I don't have yet.
But it would help me catch up a lot faster.
Oh, cool. The pre-order just hit. Yay. I just got an
I
email from Kindle. It's like Nadira Fox is my other pen name.
mm-hmm.
Her next book that comes out at the end of the month, the pre-order is up.
Awesome. Awesome.
So the cover reveal is tomorrow, you guys.
Great. Awesome. I'll
But
sure to share it
that
for you.
is the world of Falls Creek. It's like all of these books spin out of the fact that I built this one big world. I actually have a map for Falls Creek with all the little. I did it in Photoshop, so there's all these little houses and everything where you can see every time I add a character, I add where they live, and there's there's landmarks in the town. Uh, Devil's Mark, they have their own liquor.
Oh,
Crimson Ridge is the name of the bottle, blood. So I really I love world building, and so I kind of went overboard in building the world. And that's why Inception is as thick as it is, because I had to find a way to marry all of that world building with Elspeth's history and put a
That's
story.
a
So
lot of Marion.
there's actually two stories in Inception. You get the story of Elspeth, her past, but instead of doing an info dump, I did the okay, you get a chance to glimpse in and see what happened. And it has a narrator who is a demon. You don't find out who that demon is until book two. He's very important to the story. And
Well,
then
I need them all.
I
Yeah, I may have to make
I'll
payments,
give them all
but
to
I
you.
need them all. At least I have from now until the end of July to pay for it.
But Cold
Scanning
Blooded
through
is
the
written.
last of the comments here, Melanie thinks you're super cool, and
I
I
think he's
second
cool
that.
too.
Um, she says she hears you with the audiobooks because she doesn't have audiobooks either. And I love audiobooks. I'm in the car 2 hours a day at least. And if it's a really good one, then I'm taking my lunch hour in the car too. So I'm like I said, I'm in the car 2 hours a day. So I have plenty of time for audiobooks. And I'm usually listening to an audiobook and reading something as well. And they're usually, two different genres or whatever, so I can keep it all straight in my head. Um, and so I love audiobooks. And when it's someone who has a large series out or a bunch of books that you want to read, or in your case, they've tied everything they own together, um, then I can easily catch up. Um, and surprisingly, I retain all of that too when I do the audiobooks. And two, if there's a lull between books coming out and I need a refresher, I can go back and I can hit that audiobook and spend, you know, a week in the car listening to it versus a week reading the book and
Right.
and it taking up something else. So I love them. So if it's something that works out for you later on, I highly recommend it for people like me. That looks like the end of our comments and our questions. So we're going to wrap this up.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming on. We all learned so much about world building and how to keep track of it all. And I think we all walked away knowing that notebooks are life. And the main thing is to tie everything together so they're forced to buy all of your books.
There you go.
So thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for popping in tonight and posting your questions as well. We've had a blast. It was very educational for me too. And we'll be talking to you again because once Melanie finishes her book, she's definitely going to have you on her show as well.
I'm here.
And we will also be seeing you in Michigan at Once
Yeah.
Upon a Book. And I cannot wait for that.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.